First, I would like to welcome you all to Lock and Dam 10 in Guttenberg, Iowa. We're on the Mississippi River. How's everybody doing today? Good! Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Well, I'm going to actually turn around a little bit and kind of point to some of the big structures here. But I'm sure you all can see the dam right behind me here, and I'm pointing to it.
The dam is what's on the
very far end. It's
right here.
You can see all the little concrete buildings in the bridge. That's our dam. And then if she pans down a little bit, you can see the lock chamber. And it'll be off here to my right. And that's what we actually use as a stairway to help boats get up and down the river. Because there's a little bit of a natural rise here in the river, and it's about 6 feet. And boats aren't like fish that can jump and swim up over a rise, so we have to use this as a stairway. Actually, you could think of it as an elevator. We lift and we lower the boats. So, something real quick, if you look at the lock, and I don't know if you guys can see the numbers, they're in blue and white, they're on the far side. You see the one that says 600? It's right up against these gates on the left side, and that's how long the lock chamber is. It's 600 feet long, so it's almost, it's really long. It's actually twice as long as a football field, and it's 110 feet wide. So think of 2 football fields, you put them end to end like the speaker in my hand, and that's how big this lock chamber is. And that's a lot of barges that we can move through. In fact, just for numbers, everybody familiar with what a semi-truck looks like and how big they are? Yeah! Okay, this lock, as big as it is, we can put 9 barges inside of it, and each barge will hold about 60 semis. That's how much stuff we can put inside here. So you guys, if you want, you can figure it out with your teacher, but that's how much material that this lock can lift at any one time. Does anybody want to guess how long it takes for us to to lift or lower a set of barges?
Yes.
How many minutes do you think?
Hold up your fingers if you think you know.
100?
Think in your brain. 100 minutes?
30 minutes? 10 minutes? It actually takes about 10 minutes.
Yes!
Somebody was right. Something else that's really neat about this place, it was started building it in 1930.
Whoa!
I know.
You guys keep
really old. I mean, you guys see the concrete out there. A lot of that concrete, it's almost 100 years old. It's the same concrete. The building that we're standing on top of right now, we're on a balcony. This is a new building. It's actually not very old at all, maybe 15 years. But the concrete for the lock, it's almost 100 years old. It's really old. And they didn't use any computers when they built it 100 years ago. So that's where they use math. And actually a lot of math to use it. And all these old stuff. Old-time, calculation tables. The reason the locks and dams are here, the locks are, like I said, they're like a stairway. Because the river, you think about it, you got one step and then it drops down. You've got another step and it keeps dropping down. All the way from Minneapolis, Minnesota to St. Louis, Missouri. And it'll actually drop about 400 feet from Minneapolis total down to St. Louis, Missouri. So you got this series of steps that keep going down. And what happens is like right here where the dam is, there's a natural point in the river where the water level will get too low for the barges to come through. So the dam helps hold back some water, as you can see on the left side. We'll hold back a little bit of water. And then on the right side of it, that's what's called downstream of the dam. And that's the start of the next step. And then you can think of, like I said, the lock chamber, think of it as an elevator. Only it's made out of water. And that's how we lift the barges up if they want to go upriver. Or we drop them down if they want to go downriver. And that way nothing gets damaged when we're doing it. For a barge to pass, we have to maintain 9 feet. So 9 foot deep. That's what they get. You know, like right now, because we have a little bit of rain, it's a little bit deeper. And then come August, when it's really hot and it's dry out, we don't get quite as much rain. That's where the dam helps us keep that 9-foot depth for the boats to use. Now, it's not just all barges that use it. We also have recreational boat, like fishermen. We use it too. Everybody see the big gray gates with the little yellow handrails on top of them?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's this part right here.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So a boat comes up, will call us on the radio, and we're going to use going downriver, for example. So this is the upstream side of the lock chamber. The towboat will call us on the radio. We'll lift the water in the lock chamber all the way up level on both sides of the gate. We'll open those big gates. There's some big machinery, really powerful machinery that'll open those gates up, because each gate very heavy. I mean, they weigh more than a full semi-truck load. And then the boat will, I'll use my hand to demonstrate, the boat will come in. I'm not sure if you can see, there's some big yellow buttons sticking out of the concrete along the edges, but they use big ropes. I mean, they're as big around as my wrist. The barges will tie off to it, and we'll close those gates, and then, like a bathtub has a plug in it so you can drain it down. At the downstream, way down there by that other set of gates that you can probably just barely see because it's so far out there, we'll actually open some big valves. What happens is we'll drain the water out. The barge will slowly go down. And when the water's down, we'll open that other set of gates up. The barges will untie, and they'll end up, we can either assist them out, or the towboat will push them out. And we'll close those other gates, and we'll wait for the next boat to call us that needs some help going up or down. So, next question?
Can you explain just a little bit of how you get the water in and out of there and how you change the depth?
Oh, sure. Can you guys see that one set of machinery down there? There's a big light pole right behind it. It's gray. Got some. Okay. Well, what that is that's a big winch with an electric motor, and there's a valve about down underneath the ground, and you can't see it because it's it's in the concrete. But underneath that machine, there's a big tunnel, and the river comes in underneath the concrete. There's a big valve in there, much like a garden hose valve, on the side of your house where you turn the spigot on, or the faucet, and you get water to come out. And that's how we fill the lock chamber. And I know that you probably can't see them, but on the other end, there's a matching valve, and that would be the plug on the bathtub. So you think of the one right here that I'm pointing to, that's like the faucet on a bathtub, and the one way down there, it's probably a little difficult to see. That's like the plug on your bathtub. And that's how we fill and empty the lock chamber. So on the barges, when we get through, we'll actually get all kinds of material. One of our biggest products that we move a lot of is corn. I mean, we move a lot of corn. It comes downriver. So whole corn, the farmers harvest it, they take it to the grain elevator, and then it gets loaded on the barges and it comes down. Just some numbers, and these are some huge numbers, but out of 12,500,000 tons last year, almost 20% of it was corn. Other items that we move a lot of, soybeans, and then we also move a lot of fertilizer comes upriver so that farmers can use it to fertilize their fields to grow more corn and soybeans. We also move a lot of gravel and rock products for making concrete to build schools and bridges and roads. And you can move just about anything on the river. All you need is the right type of barge. Whether you need, we move a lot of coal too for power plants. Well, I'll use the corn and the soybeans for example. A lot of them, they make it all the way from here down to St. Louis, and there might be a plant down there that's going to make animal feed, or they keep going all the way down to the mouth of the Mississippi in New Orleans, Louisiana, and you get many barges, like 50, 60 barges will be gathered together, and they'll move it across the Gulf of Mexico to another location in America, where sometimes it's unloaded from the barges, put onto another ship, and they'll send it overseas to another country for use. So we ship stuff from Iowa, we can ship it all the way to China it'll end up in. That's a long ways away.
How does the lock and dam affect the animals in the river?
That's a really great question. One of the things that the lock and dam does do is, you notice when we have the dam over there, it would actually block off the river, but the gates aren't always down all the way, so fish can still swim back and forth, and sometimes they might even come through the lock chamber. But one of the great things about the dam is, dams hold back water. That's what they're designed to do, and they create these big giant pools. And what those pools do is they create places for ducks and geese and other water birds to nest and to fish and to raise little ones. And, with the fish, it actually keeps big, deep pools of water for them, and it helps them in the winter, because if the water's too shallow in the winter, there's not always enough oxygen there. So when you have deeper water, you have more oxygen to help the fish survive. So if you guys look over, you see all the trees back there behind the dam? That's all a national wildlife refuge back there. And in reality, there's a couple, you can't see them from here, but behind them big green trees, there's several pools back there, they're ponds. And what they help is migrating ducks and geese stop there on their way south every fall. So it's a resting place too as they're moving throughout the year. Yeah, I like that one. So,
Class, do you have a question?
I'm curious about how many barges can move through in a day.
how many? That's a good question. And honestly, it depends. The most I've seen go through in a day is actually 4 times 3. So we've had 12 tows of 15 barges per tow. So at a time, though, it usually takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours to get one set of 15 barges through the lock. And then, of course, we have to give them a little bit of time as they meet on each side of the barge, because the river's only so wide. But
Do you have barges through just in the daytime?
just in an 8-hour day shift.
Or do they come through just in the day? Or
No, the barges come through 24 hours a day. So we've had them come through even on 4th of July when they're having the fireworks show, when there's still barges locking through. So to answer the best answer I could give you is up to 60 per 8-hour shift. Does that help?
Wow.
Yep. So
It's a busy river then.
it can be a very busy river. That doesn't even count the fishermen that want to use the river.
I read somewhere that $180 billion worth of goods goes down the Mississippi every year.
That sounds about right. I mean, it is a very efficient way to move material, and goods up and down the river. Because you figure they use only a little amount of fuel to actually move all that corn and soybeans and coal up and down the river. Because especially heading downriver, the current helps push them a little bit. The current's not too fast. If you look at it, it's nice, lazy, slow, gentle river day. It's not like the spring when it's flooding. But yeah, it's actually costs about a third as much to send something down the river as it does to drive it down the highway.
Have any boats gotten stuck?
Like stuck in the lock chamber, or stuck in the dam, or just stuck in general?
Stuck in the dam.
I'm sure they have. No boats recently have been stuck in the dam, but we did have a couple upriver from here where the sand shifts in the river as the current flows. The water meanders like my hand is, and it moves. You get sandbars, and so we did have a few barges a couple weeks ago that were reporting that yes, they were in in what's called the channel, which is where the barges go. And I don't think you're going to see the buoys. I'm looking for them there, but we have buoys, red and green buoys that will mark where it's safe for the barges to go. Because the river flows, they were getting stuck on that, but they were able to get free. So we don't have that problem as bad here. But there are other places in the river where a tributary, so another stream comes in and it'll drop a lot of sand. So we're constantly working on keeping the channel open so these barges can move their goods up and down the river.
Did you have special training for your job?
Actually, I did have special training. I started out as a maintenance person at the lock and dam, and then I applied for a couple programs to learn, about how to work the lock and dam. We're constantly in training on it anyways, but I learned that, how to work on the lock and dam and work with other people. So, yeah, it's a lot of it though is you can apply when you get older, and a lot of it is what they call on-the-job training. You start out just like anything else, and we teach you how to actually operate the dam or the lock chamber. It takes quite a few years to learn everything.
How many fish can come in the dam?
How many fish can come into the dam? That's actually a really good question. I'm not exactly certain, but we do work with the Iowa DNR, the Department of Natural Resources, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. I don't know. I know they trap all kinds of fish. So they trap sturgeon and walleye and northern pike. I would guess that several thousand at a time if I had to put a number on it. And speaking of fish, you guys know what a mud puppy is? You heard of it?
Yes.
Some yes, some no. Who knows what a mud puppy is? No, it's a salamander that lives in the water. Yeah, they almost never come out on the land, but they live in the water. They've got gills. We actually help trap them here so that the Iowa DNR can keep track of them. It's a big project they have, and they're trying to bring them back off the endangered species list. Actually, they're doing quite well here, and that's one of the benefits you see of the dam is it makes good habitat for different salamanders and fish and birds and animals. That's a great question.
Big fish live at the bottom of those holes up and down there.
Oh, yeah, big fish. I mean, big. You guys see my arms?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen guys pulling big catfish. I mean, the things are huge. The rod's bent way over. We actually seen a couple of big sturgeon come up before. Sturgeon are really old fish. I mean, some people say that sturgeon have not changed since the time of dinosaurs. They look the same today as they did back then. They got the big funny whiskers at the bottom and the nose that kind of looks like a duckbill. Big long tails. They're a really unique fish. But yeah, we'll see huge fish live underneath the dam because all the food comes through and it gets tumbled like this, and the small fish are knocked out, and of course the big ones come up and grab them.
What do you enjoy about your job in the lock and dam?
What was that?
What do you enjoy about your job at the lock and dam?
What do I enjoy about my job? Well, what's not to enjoy? You guys see how sunny it is here today? Yeah, and I get to see the river, and I know you can't see them, but right now, we're looking way over there. I just watched a small flock of pelicans land. This spring, there was about 50 bald eagles out here fishing. I enjoy the river and the beauty of it, and I enjoy helping people enjoy the river, whether it's a businessman move his corn and coal, or it's a family go have a fun afternoon of fishing. I get to work on the river. It's great. It's this wonderful mix of in town, but yet all this natural beauty, so we get to help people out. That's a great question.
All right, this is one question. You guys have one last question?
Go ahead, Levi.
Guys, one last thing that's really interesting, and I don't know, Gretchen, can you see the sign over there? Right now, the St. Paul District, that's how the Corps of Engineers is broken down as the different sections. We're celebrating our 150th year. So my job is actually 150 years old. So we've been doing this we've been working for the government and the people of America for 150 years. We've been an organization. So a long time. It only took them another 50 years to put in the dam.
All right, well, thank you guys so much
you very much. I hope you enjoyed your time here at Lock and Dam 10.
Thank you very much. We've learned a lot.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Good wait.